My name is Bennett Brown, and I love Jacksonville. I've called it home for the last 42 years. It's a great place to raise your family, to work, and to live. I'm married to my high school sweetheart, Melanie. We have 3 sons and 6 grandchildren. Community banking is my trade. I have provided banking services to small businesses and professionals for over 40 years in Jacksonville. I'm a big advocate for entrepreneurs and small business owners. I'm also a co-chair of EmpowerJacksonville.org. My involvement with EmpowerJacksonville.org is to keep Jacksonville a great city for my sons, my grandchildren, and for small businesses. In order to do this, we need to give the citizens of Jacksonville the right to repeal any law passed by our city council or our city government that is unfair or unjust. And let me repeat that again. In order to keep Jacksonville great, we need to give the citizens of Jacksonville the right to repeal any law that is unfair or unjust that's passed by our city council. I've had the privilege of working with hundreds of small businesses over the past 40 years. And I can tell you firsthand that they are fed up with the city telling them how they can run their businesses, telling them what bathroom policies they should use, telling them who they can do business with and who they can not do business with, and telling them what they can and cannot say. I believe that every citizen should be free to peacefully live and work according to their beliefs without fear of unjust government punishment. Let me repeat that again. I believe that every citizen should be free to peacefully live and work according to their beliefs without fear of unjust government punishment. I'd like to ask my co-chair, Mr. Harry Lewis, to come forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. The citizens of Jacksonville should be able to challenge any ordinance, especially those that are unfair and unjust, and exercise their right to repeal them. My name is Harry Lewis, and I'm joined here today by other voices in our community to announce the beginning of a movement that's about empowering the basic civil rights of the citizens of Jacksonville to repeal unfair or unjust laws. Our movement is EmpowerJacksonville.org. This morning, 2 citizens' initiatives were filed in the Duval County Supervisors of Elections office by EmpowerJacksonville.org. They will both appear on the ballot in Duval County, August of 2018. The first petition is an amendment to the city charter to create a voter's right to repeal any city ordinance that is unfair or unjust by a citizen's referendum. When passed, this will give the voters of Jacksonville the right to repeal any ordinance passed by local government which is unfair, unjust, or violates basic human rights. The second petition is a straw ballot vote on whether the HRO should be put up for a vote by the people in a future election. I stand here today as a Jacksonville consumer, a Jacksonville businessman. I met and married my wife in Jacksonville, and all of my children have been born in Jacksonville. For the last 42 years, Jacksonville has been my home. My wife and some of my daughters are here with me today. We are all concerned that our city government is working against the privacy, well-being, and dignity of women and young girls all over the city of Jacksonville, which include my wife, my daughters, and even my 4-year-old granddaughter. The Jacksonville city government has violated one of its most basic responsibilities to protect all its citizens, but especially women and young girls. That's why we believe that using the democratic process, the citizens of Jacksonville need to be empowered with the freedom to repeal any ordinance especially the ones that are unjust, unfair, or violate basic human rights. The rights to privacy, well-being, and dignity in intimate settings are the basic human rights for all citizens. Our government is working against us, the citizens of Jacksonville. Our government has no business telling us what we can't say or what we must say, nor should they have the authority to punish us merely for our ideas or our beliefs. Our government has a duty and responsibility to protect the privacy, well-being, and dignity of all its citizens, not pass laws that threaten them. Citizens of Jacksonville, this is common sense. Soon you'll hear from some of Jacksonville's concerned citizens and patrons, as well as the other 4 petitioners who, in addition to Bennett Brown, are required by Jacksonville law to sponsor the referendum. But before you hear from them, I'd like you to meet and hear from my daughter, Carson. As a father, I would never want her or any of my precious daughters to be forced to be in the presence of any male in an intimate setting, such as locker rooms, public restrooms, or changing rooms. I'm not alone in this concern.
Hi, my name is Carson Lewis, and I've lived here in Jacksonville my whole life. I graduated from high school here, and I work here in Jacksonville as well. I have 4 sisters under the age of 12. This is Grayson. I often go shopping with her and take her out to other public areas. I am very concerned, not only for my safety, but for the safety and protection of my little sisters who are vulnerable and unable to protect themselves in what should be a safe and private space. Just knowing that a young girl's greatest fear could become legal and that we have no say in the matter is truly terrifying. No one, including the city of Jacksonville, should force a woman or a young girl to undress or shower or use the restroom where a man can be present. Because of this dangerous law created by local government, I see clearly that every citizen should be able to repeal any and all unfair just laws.
Hello, my name is Lois Tague. I've lived in Jacksonville for 40 years. I'm a mother and I'm a grandmother of 3. Here's my story. Just last year, while my 6-year-old granddaughter and I were in a public restroom in separate stalls, a man entered and asked, "Are there any little girls in here?" At that moment, I suddenly realized that I could not protect my granddaughter. I knew I couldn't get to her before he could. And I knew I would not be able to undo any damage that had been done to her. Our government has a duty to protect the privacy, the well-being, and the dignity of all of the citizens, and not to put us into harm's way. However, our government has been working against us. I support the EmpowerJacksonville.org initiative because it gives all of us Jacksonville citizens the ability to repeal unfair and unjust laws that fail to protect the privacy and safety of our women and our children in locker rooms, in showers, and restrooms. It's right for us to expect privacy to start at each of those doors. It's just common sense.
Good morning. My name is Elwin Jenkins. I have lived in the city of Jacksonville the past 72 years. I served 4 years in the U.S. Marines, which included a tour in Vietnam. I'm a husband, father, grandfather, and a very proud great-grandfather. I'm the pastor of the True Way Church of the Risen Christ. I have served in that role for the past 32 years. The church is located here in Jacksonville on Edison Avenue. Our church building was built in 1895 and survived the historic Jacksonville fire in 1901. However, I wasn't around. As a member of the clergy in our community, I have great concern for the future of freedom in America and of the future of freedom here in our city. The Jacksonville City Council has abused its power by enacting laws that infringe on the religious liberty of the members of my church. Many of them own small businesses and other ministries in our community. These ministries do heavy lifting in our community, caring for those who are in need of help. They should not have to be burdened with regulations that are against their faith and convictions. The government has no business telling us what we can say or what we must say, nor should they have authority to punish any of us for our ideas and our beliefs. Every citizen should be free to peacefully live and work according to their beliefs without fear of unjust government punishment. EmpowerJacksonville.org protects that freedom. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Michele Fleming, and I've had the privilege of being a resident in Jacksonville, Florida for the last 21 years. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother of 6, and I'm a counselor and the founder and director of a business I've run in Jacksonville for 16 years called Life Renewal, Inc. As a counselor, I run a business with my client's best interest in mind. And I want to live and work peacefully without government interference trying to tell me what I should say, how I should say it, or what I must say. I have a PhD in clinical counseling, and I've counseled over 16,000 clients. Many of the women that I've worked with have been abused at the hands of men, resulting in trauma with debilitating triggers, often resulting in post-traumatic stress disorder. In the last 6 months, I've counseled women who are now fearful to enter a public bathroom. I am very distressed at that our city government is violating their most basic responsibility to protect women and children, and they're working against their citizens. It's common sense that no one, including the city of Jacksonville, should force women and young girls to undress or take a shower in the presence of a man, especially in intimate settings like a public locker room, shower, or restroom. I have seen the epidemic of trauma and abuse as a counselor, and the result is a violation of a woman's privacy, safety, and dignity. And this is why I am supporting EmpowerJacksonville.org. I'm concerned for the hundreds of women and children that I have counseled in Jacksonville who have experienced a gross invasion of their privacy and their dignity. The democratic process should include the right to repeal unjust and unfair laws that violate basic human rights, and EmpowerJacksonville.org restores that right. Citizens should be able to repeal unjust and unfair laws, and EmpowerJacksonville.org gives the people the ability to do just that and protects their freedom. It gives the power back to the people. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Shirley Neil. I'm a Floridian. I am a wife, a mother, I'm an accountant, and also a proud citizen of Jacksonville. I'm here today because I am concerned about the privacy, well-being, and dignity of every woman and child of Jacksonville. I am really upset and very unsettled that women and children's privacy, well-being, and dignity has been infringed upon by the divisive laws the City Council pushed through against the will of the people. These divisive laws give men access to women's public lockers, showers, and restrooms. This is not, I repeat, not common sense. Government has a duty and responsibility to protect the privacy, well-being, and dignity of all its citizens, not threaten it. Our basic rights have been violated by unfair and unjust divisive laws city government have imposed upon the people against our will. City government is working against its own citizens' privacy, well-being, and dignity. Citizens of Jacksonville, you have a duty. You have a responsibility. You have an obligation to repeal unfair and unjust divisive laws that work against us. EmpowerJacksonville.org gives you the ability to do just that. EmpowerJacksonville.org protects your freedom, restores your basic civil rights, and empowers you to repeal any and all unfair and unjust divisive laws that work against the citizens of Jacksonville. Let's repeal this unconscionable law that threatens the privacy, well-being, and dignity of the women and children of Jacksonville.